Prince Adriel looked up from the rim of his golden goblet, and just for a moment he allowed the happiness of the room to wash over him. And it felt good. He had not felt this way in a very long time. Imrahil sat to his left and was deep in conversation with Elfir over the latter's recent victories in Harad. Imrahil's younger children watched and listened in awe at their champion elder brother. The room was filled with the scent of exotic spices and meats, foodstuffs that had not graced the tables of Dol Amroth since before Adrihil's time. The meal laid out before them was like nothing the aging prince had tasted, and the victory over Sauron made it all the sweeter. The sound of triumph flooded the room, both from the inhabitants within and from the gathered masses in the streets outside. Dol Amroth was in celebration, as the news had reached them of Mordor's defeat. Friends and loved ones had been saved by the Ar-Adûnâim from the hellscape of Nirn, and were reuniting with their families in the city below. Adrihil could scarcely believe it were true, and he did not allow himself to fully accept the victory until his own scouts had returned from their reconnaissance of Mordor. His hated enemy, coming from the sea as though from the pages of history, had first brought death and destruction to his people. His own grandchildren, Boromir and Faramir, had been killed in the first assaults, but now he raises a glass to their honoured dead, as the Ar-Adûnâim have achieved the impossible. Still, a nagging fear lay heavy on his heart. What would the Ar-Adûnâim do next? Would they find their victory satiated their bloodlust? This doubt had long plagued his mind, and sleep had recently begun to elude him. He put aside the concern once more, and surveyed the room before him. Gondorians and Amrothians drank and sang all about the great chamber, but there was a notable mass of the former. The nobles of Gondor, ever plotting and scheming to advance their own personal position, had descended on his city some years ago. Nobody ever dares mention it in public, but everybody knows that Adrihil is now the de facto ruler of Gondor, and he had been for some time. The line of weak stewards that followed after Denethor's death could not control the nobles of Gondor, and the games that great nation played assured that it currently withers under the onslaught of the barbarians of Enedwaith. No, it is in Dol Amroth and in Adrihil's line that the glory of the past is secured. Shortly after dessert had been served and the Gondorians had finally stopped trying to curry favour with the prince for the evening, Baragund came into the room, and Adrihil's heart hit the floor. He could feel his pulse rising and a sweat develop on his forehead as he saw the eyes of the man. He ushered his chief scout forward, and Baragund, in his usual style, seemed to glide through the shadows of the room almost unnoticed by the guests. He came to Adrihil, bent low and whispered in his ear. "They crossed the Sirith with 5,000 men, my lord, not 2 days past. Gimmelkart and Gimmelzor lead them. Fanwelond and Brethil have fallen. It has begun." Paralysis struck Adrihil, and he stared blankly into Baragund's eyes. His head was already whirling with 1,000 different thoughts. Fury and terror began to grow within him, each vying for supremacy. But he could not let fear guide his actions in this. The fate of his people now stood on a knife edge, and he knew it. Adrihil stood and raised his hand. The room silenced, and all eyes turned to him. "My countrymen, we feast tonight in honor of our kin, who have put down the greatest threat our nation has ever faced. Sauron is dead." A cheer erupted around the room, and more than a few goblets clattered to the floor. "Peace and prosperity will once again bless the lands of the Swan, and I ask that you do celebrate long into this night. Let the dawn chorus be awoken by our calls and cheers." Again a cheer erupted around the room. "For my own part, this evening has wrung all it can out of this old man, and I must depart. Caer Aralf!" The chant of Dol Amroth echoed through the chamber as Adrihil made for the door. In the corridor beyond, he was stopped by a familiar face. "Father, when are you going to learn that you cannot hide anything from me?" "Imrahil, if I stopped trying to hide things from you, would I really be your father?" He chuckled in retort, attempting to keep levity in his voice. Let the younger generation celebrate a little longer, he thought. Imrahil stepped closer, and Adrihil took his arm for support, and the two men wandered in silence for what seemed like an eternity. A blissful moment of peace, the old man thought, before the coming storm. They wandered out to the sea's edge, and from there to the height of the Tirith Ayar. At length the younger spoke. "They attacked Gondor, didn't they, father?" Adrian nodded, the best he could achieve as he caught his breath. Imrahil turned to the ocean and gazed out to the sea, and Adrian could see anger beginning to wash over him. The younger spoke again. "We should not have agreed to their alliance, father. Together with Gondor we kept Sauron at bay for years, and we could have done so for years more. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance, and now we face a stronger enemy." Imrahil's voice grew louder and stronger as he spoke. "An enemy who have just sharpened their swords on Sauron and his hordes. An enemy who knows our tactics, knows our strengths, and knows our weaknesses. And, might I add, an enemy who currently sits atop the throne of Gondor. And you would have us face them? I share your concerns, my son, I do. I have questioned my actions every day since I signed that treaty, but has it not brought prosperity and peace to our people? Do we not currently rule over the desert and enjoy the protection of the mightiest field army in Middle-earth? We are 10 times the nation that the invaders faced when they first arrived, and I do not doubt that we will hold them. Gondor will not fall." With those words, Adrian clasped the hammer at his feet, and with a show of strength that defied his years, he rung the great bell of the Tirith Ayar. A single clear ringing washed over the city, and the clamour and cheer faded into silence. After a short time, a single flaming arrow rose into the sky from the castle wall, and in answer, the beacon of Dol Amroth burst into flame. The city erupted into life again, but a markedly different sound now met the prince's ears as his people readied for war. Away in the distance, the beacon of Itheland suddenly erupted into flame, and one by one, the coastal beacons came to life in answer, fireflies in the darkness over yonder. Adrian looked back into his son's eyes again, and this time Imrahil noted the change in his father's demeanour. The conviction of the man hit Imrahil like a wall, and his anger faded in a heartbeat. Adrian spoke again with a markedly softer voice. "The wings of the swan beat ready for battle, my son. Do you answer?" Imrahil looked out over the city behind them. He had always climbed to this height whenever doubt or fear gnawed at him, as the sight of his city always made him feel as though he could achieve anything. He thought long on the campaigns he had fought these past years, the number of Haradrim that had fallen to his sword, and the news of the victories after victory that came from the north. The Ar-Adûnâim seemed unstoppable. But when he looked back and stared into his father's eyes, he felt nothing but assurance. Despite Adriel's 98 years on this earth, he stood tall before Imrahil as a king of old, and Imrahil felt power that he had not felt in a great time. He turned back to his father, and at length he spoke. "I answer." Gavan and Melonin, and well met indeed. I am Adrian, and welcome back to Middle-earth as we continue on as the Ar-Adûnâim, as we now go to war with Gondor. Now, first thing, despite the way that I wrote that little intro, Dol Amroth haven't actually declared war on us yet, but they absolutely will. So it is only a matter of time. There is no way they're going to abandon Gondor. They broke the alliance with me in the last episode. They've stayed allied to Gondor, so they absolutely will stay allied to Gondor. Also, in the last episode, there was some odd flickering, which a few of you mentioned in the first minute of the video, and you flashed my desktop for a brief second, and it's literally never done that ever before. I have absolutely no idea how to try and stop that if it is going to be a recurring problem. So if it happens again, I apologise. But I watched that video back as luck would have it, actually, and I noted that it was only like the first minute or so of the video, and it only happened about 3 or 4 times, and then it settled down. So I'm not too bothered, but thank you all for bringing it to my attention. But I had noted when I watched the video back. I don't usually watch the videos back, but last time I did, I was playing some Guild Wars, and just casually watched it back while I was playing. Alright, we need to kill Hervagil before we continue moving on, and then we shall be crossing over the next river, the Cerny. Now, interestingly, the Cerny River, on the map that I have next to me, this little bit here is listed as the Cerny River, and then this bit is listed as the Gilrine River. But I believe that the Cerny is the precedent name for it, or rather the larger name. But then that would suggest that this is the Cerny, and then the far larger river, the Gilrine, joins the Cerny, where it then loses its own name and takes the name of the much smaller river. But I don't really know. But anywho, there we go. Right, let's attack Hervergill and stop with the Middle-earth geography lessons. Although I know. It is interesting, and I do like those kinds of things. In fact, the geography of the world is the thing I like the most. And last time I was talking at length about this little village over here. And the safety and security that the people in that village must feel. And to be honest, I found that so intriguing the more I delved into that and thought, actually, you know what, that probably is true. The people that live there really are disconnected from the world. This is one of the safest places in Middle-earth. There are no evil creatures south of the White Mountains. The White Mountains were cleared of orcs thousands of years ago, and they never resurged. So this is just such a safe place. Sorry, it goes around in my mind. Anyway, Hervergill, you tried to run, but alas, I cannot have you running. You need to die, sir. And it is now that will be. Now, of course,
we march into battle.
My intro might be totally undone if Dol Amroth don't attack us and actually allow Gondor to die. But then if that happens, we can continue on from Adrian's perspective. I had to do a little bit of research to do today's intro, and I wrote it. I didn't write it today. I wrote it yesterday because I was thinking about it. That's how invested I am in this campaign. I was thinking about that intro for the past sort of 3 days, deciding how I would frame it. I was picturing it in my mind, turning into an A-class writer here. I should write a book or something. But no, I jest. But I had thought about it for such a long time, and I thought, why don't you just bloody start putting pen to paper, Ed? Because my name is Ed. And obviously I don't refer to myself as Galu when I'm talking to myself in real life. And so I did it early. I wrote it early, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, I have to confess. And I just couldn't. It was had such. The intro. This is the one I've enjoyed the most, and I hopefully that shone through. Because I just loved today's intro, and I could not let it go past without a proper fitting soundtrack. So this video may not have any adverts in it because it may well be demonetized. But it just felt so right to add the Bridge of Khazad-dûm at the end of the intro to really hammer home the pomp and circumstance of Imrahil coming round to his father's way of thinking and standing with him. But also, yes, I did have to do research. I had to load up the game and send my spy around the world to make sure that Adrian was actually still alive. And he is, if you're wondering, obviously. And he is 98 years of age, as I said. And Imrahil is also still alive. So both of their family, their main family exists on. And Elfir has come of age. What are we actually doing here? We're attacking them, aren't we? So me standing on that hill is not going to do anything. We don't have any calves, so their siege is going to be a bit of a pain. But let's form a defensive line behind the siege there. We're not even on a hill here. We hugely outnumber them, and when we start shooting at them, I think they will attack us. But anyway, we'll try and figure something out. You guys go left. So, annoyingly, it does mean that I now know that Adrian is still in Dol Amroth, where he started the game. He's not left it. Imrahil is currently sitting just south of us in Ostithil. So he's right on our border. When he led the army up that way some time ago, and he never went back. And Elfir is sitting in the heart of Harondor. So none of their key generals are anywhere near their front line with Harad. But they don't actually own all of Harad, as we've seen from... we've got map information with them at the moment, and we also did a toggle fog of war a while ago. Harad own everything south of the Hên Annûn River. That's as far as Dol Amroth have gone. So Harad are holding. Dol Amroth have not defeated them. I'd like, ideally, to come over here, I think. Oh, this is one of those bright... the snow on these battle maps is just so painful. We are going to take losses here, unfortunately, because we have a melee-heavy army, and that's always the way with melee-heavy armies. You take losses. But at least we can do this at ×6, so I'll just spin it round, and you have to just endure a brief moment of nothing while our army manoeuvres into position. But if you move the camera, of course, it slows down. It slows down. I've pre-recorded Battle for Middle-earth now right up to the point that we swap to Mordor, so I'm burning through with that. At the point that I've recorded this, though, you've still only seen 1 episode, but there are now 6 recorded episodes, all uploaded onto YouTube, waiting to go. So if you do happen to come across the playlist for Battle for Middle-earth, you will then begin to question, why are there 4 videos you can't see, or 5 videos you can't see? Although by the point you've watched this one, actually, at the point I'm recording this, you've not yet watched the second Battle for Middle-earth episode, but at the point that you watch this video, you will have seen the second one, if that's what floats your boat. I love that time dilation-y stuff. It's not time dilation, it's just scheduling videos, but I love it. I think it's cool. Oh, I see. I tell you to attack the ballista crew, you start shooting randomly at the enemy. That really does line up, yeah. Oh, we killed one and killed a load of enemies. Oh, and another's gone. And a third. And the fourth falls as well. Alright, you should now stop. We should come out of time 6, which I've not done. Territorial Guardsman, is that the best you can do? You're going to go to hit them, you're going to hit them, you're going to hit them, and you're going to hit them. Pikes, you're probably not going to be involved here. Let's send 2 swordmen up to the front, 3 swordmen up to the left. Archers firing at will. They've got 1 archer militia unit. Oh, and 1 Gondor archer behind it.
The battle is
fighting for their lives.
In our favor. Victory will be ours.
These men will all be part of our realm before long. Oh, they're running. They are running. Right, in we go, in we go, in we go. Right, you guys then can return to firing at will. Might as well flank about. Gondor infantry. Yeah, our archers are going to have to kill their archers because they're just going to run away forever. Get out of the way of the ballista crew. We'll kill you. Ballista crew, can you please target the archers? Because I'm worried about what I'm seeing there. I'm very worried about what I'm seeing there. Don't fire at will. Just shoot the archers. All of you, if you would as well, go wide formation. Sprint forwards.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
Don't worry about those that are routing. Oh, no. Ceasefire, 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 ceasefire. How many have we killed of our own here? This is probably going to be astronomical. Who fights on? Gondor infantry looking very swing. Always looking nice. And Lebanon Marines. Men of Lebanon. We stand our ground with spear and shield. Lebanon has already fallen. Pelagia, the capital of Lebanon, well, quasi-capital. It doesn't really give them capitals per se, but it is the capital. It's the largest city in Lebanon. Pelagia fell many moons ago, did it not? And Fanrelond has now also fallen, as has Brethil. Oh, and also last time I misspoke, I'm afraid.
Pursue and run them down.
The Sindarin word for first is Minui, M-I-N-U-I. I thought about that almost immediately after the video because my home, my house, all of our joint account related things here on the house that I own with my now wife.
This is a clear victory.
I call them all Minwivar, which means first home. And so I remembered after the battle that, in fact, Min is just first. Min is just one, and Minwi is first. And by extension, Tadwi is second. So it should be Minwithur and Tadwithur, rather than... And then they're almost as much of a mouthful as Fanrelond and Brethil. Although Brethil's not a mouthful, is it? It's short and sweet and it hits home easy. But Fanrelond's always a bit of a long one. I didn't check how many we killed of our own, because I assume it was substantial.
March to exhaustion, continuing like...
Yes,
right, well done.
Your orders, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Alright, are they going to hit Kimulkad the Mighty?
Yes,
and if we... Well, we're clever enough to go round, aren't we? Let's be honest. So,
yes,
up you go.
we shall continue your will, my lord.
Every battle,
We can't get
won,
there.
lost, or otherwise, is a little boost to our income. I'm not planning on attacking Hên Annûn, if I'm honest. I'm just going to siege Hurrid of the Keys out and let him die. Hên Annûn, I don't know if the battle map is bugged or works or is whatnot, but it's just an unnecessary evil. Oh no, we probably should fight it, shouldn't we, actually? We'll give them one more turn of sieging, and then I'll hit them on this next turn.
Will, my lord.
Right, are Dol Amroth going to actually react to our actions against their ally? Let's find out. One of the commenters recently took great umbrage with the fact that I'm building militia garrisons on the border towns because, as he said, I pushed so far into the enemy bases that by the border garrisons no longer become relevant. But I'm afraid I cannot shake the defensive mindset that I have had since youth and I bring to every game I ever play as a default. And that is we cannot assume that our enemy will not get the upper hand and push back, and we should always be ready to fall back. As I said in the Age of Empires 2 videos recently, running away is not as easy as running away. You need to prepare for it and plan in advance. You need to have in the back of your mind that you might have to run away and make exceptions and preparations to deal with that. You cannot assume at any stage that you will never run away. Now, as expected, I think Dol Amroth are immediately going to attack us. They've moved an army up to Tadthur. They're standing outside of it. They're blocking our troops going in. They've not attacked us, but they've moved on to us. I'm not really sure. It's a very bold and aggressive move. Oh, look, Gondor have buggered off back to Tarnost, where they've then mustered a secondary army out of nowhere, by the looks of it.
My lord.
If you could just hop in there. No.
We can't get
Why would you go that way if you can't get in there, then?
Your orders, my lord.
Civil disorder.
Orders.
Yes, my lord.
Captain Ingold. I find myself wondering what exactly is your plan, sir. Nimruzir and Belzagar, I think you might need to move up and become governors of the new towns, lest they rebel. Can you train 2 more units for me and I'll take both of those.
My lord.
Why would you go that way around? Why didn't you go the other way if you knew? I hate you. I hate everything about you. Oh look, each one of those has just gained bonuses and boons. Karasas got a blacksmith, so it's nice, a little bit more money. Kadar and Gimilthon got a Numenorian armorer, so now gives the highest tier that we can get outside of the advanced armorer. It's not building its roads though. Oh, and something that, again, I'm going to say verbally, even though I explained it in the comments,
Yes,
but I didn't think I needed to, but I will do for the benefit of you all. Many of you will already know this, so I'll try and keep it short and sweet. If I have 145 gold coins, as I currently do, that is not enough money, for example, to build this building in Kadar and Gimilthon. That costs 7,800 gold coins. I've only got 145, so that's not going to build. If I then capture a city, such as Tadthur, and I destroy the building, those 1,000 gold coins will go into my coffer. So if I destroyed a building that is worth 7,800 gold coins, or rather no, if I destroyed a building that's worth 7,700 gold coins, my coffer will increase to 7,845 gold coins. That building will then immediately get built, or it will get added to the building queue. It'll be green lighted, if you will, which means 7,800 gold coins will then leave my bank, leaving me with only 45. So it may appear that I've actually lost money by destroying the building, but that's just because the money has gone onto a project which is currently stalled. And I say that because a commenter said you shouldn't have destroyed all of those buildings because you ended that with less money, meaning it was a complete waste of time. And I did have a chuckle to myself, I must confess. And it always surprises me that even now, 14 years after this game released, and 7 years after I started doing YouTube, or 6 years I think actually, people still don't know the basic concepts of Med 2. So where possible, I try to explain these things. Now, I'm not going to move those out, but I will move the 2 of those down to Karasas, because Karasas now doesn't like us. Oh, no, but we're training troops in Karasas. You kind of have no purpose, actually. We'll just get rid of you. You're cheap traff. We don't want you defending the city. This is in case Rohan decides to get any big ideas. I don't think they will, because as you can see, Isengard is our western border. But it's just important to have security on the borders, as I've already mentioned. One cannot simply just run away. One must plan to run away. Speaking of running away, how do we deal with Tarnost? He thought better of attacking us on that bridge, as you might expect.
I will only address
Oh, and he's got a shed load of siege. How much siege would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck siege? And apparently, Captain Nimradan would chuck a lot of it. Holy hellfire. That is so much siege. You really are about to die, aren't you? And we just got the message that said that they've run out of people. I don't actually know who Gondor's steward is. I've not been able to find him in my searchings and wanderings. But we need to capitalise on this now. That Tarnost army needs to die.
Orders, my lord.
And so, despite how just horrific this is going to be, we're going to fight. We're going to fight this battle. It's going to cost everything we have, and I'm dreading it. And we don't have a single cavalry unit to deal with those siege units. Oh, God's above. Why didn't we bring any cavalry? Who set this army up? Aldemir, hello there. No, you're probably better in Karlonde. Capitalise on the wealthier ones with a general will give comparatively more income than the poorer ones with a general. And we're still getting what we can here in the Gate of Kings. We need more free upkeep here to get this army to be free. I just have no cavalry anywhere else. I just can't get cavalry. It'd need to be right here, right now. So I'm dilly-dallying because I really don't want to fight that army.
Yes, my lord.
Now, yes, something that someone has mentioned, which is cheesy, in this case doesn't matter at all because Tarnos only has 2 people in it, but something that you can do, and we could have employed in the Khazad-dûm battle against Dol Guldur, is that if you use a single unit to siege Tarnos, in this example, if I did have, I don't know, a faster using infantry unit, or I took one of his units, and I sieged Tarnos, and then I attacked these 2 armies, the garrison of the city would not be part of the battle because they are under siege. So you can cut out the garrison.
Yes,
it's not always worthwhile. Right, our Gimmelkad, I think I'm going to take you.
Yes, my lord.
And Gimmelzor will be the follow-up ally. They both have the same army makeup, really. Except Gimmelkad has an extra unit, and that's going to help us more. I'd really like to hit Nimradan, to be honest, and have Methilia come in as support so that we can deal with the ridiculous amount of siege. Because siege has quite a long range, so if we attacked Methilia, the siege doesn't have to come in very much before it can start attacking us. Whereas if we attack that army, we can just sprint into the siege and kill it all before it does anything.
Yes.
So that's what I'm going to do. So you're going to need to come and stand there, you're going to need to come and stand there, and then hit Nimradan.
We shall engage.
Holy hellfire, here we go. Brace yourselves. This is very much the battle for Eastern Gondor because our spy has just shown us that there's no troops anywhere near Ethring, and the nearest reinforcing army has about 5 companies in it. It's just not going to do anything. So Thorongil and Nimradan and Methilir, the hope of Gondor now rests on your shoulders. I've saved it. This might lag a bit. There's a lot of troops. But actually, no, because he's gone massively into siege. There's not that many troops on him. Ah, Gandalf. Gandalf, the choir master of the forces of good, the free peoples of Middle-earth, all playing to his tune. Right, we attacked this fellow straight on, which means his ally is going to come in over here, but then so is ours. I think ours is probably going to come in the corner, which will be annoying, because they can't have them coming in at the same spot. But theirs might come in the corner, actually, which would be even better. Right. Let's have a look at this and size it all up. So, our siege, try and get you to just walk up onto that hill and take all the archers with you. Because if we can find a favourable position to defend against the coming army, if we can get on that hill, that'd be good. The main army, I want everything that moves quickly, particularly swordmen. In fact, I will just take those 6 sword units, and I think, to be honest, you'll probably win this. We'll take the Nardu Tariq with you as well, actually. Gimmelkad and the pikes, you're going to be the guard for the archers and the siege. Start battle, pause battle. Bugger, right, they're coming in on the right-hand side. To be expected. So, Ballister Crews, I want you up on that hill. Don't fire at will, though. Archers, you're going to go... No, let's put the Ballister Crews even further up, on the right near the top. Archers, you take... go slightly further down the hill in front of them there. And for the moment, pikes and Gimmelkad, just take that spot. This army, just sprint at this army as fast as you can. Go, 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 go. Oh, and go in wide formation, actually. And get over there. Oh, wide formation just saved your asses right there. Alright, Gondor Cavalry are going to hit you. Nothing I can do about that. Close up ranks. Close up ranks. Keep sprinting, keep sprinting, keep sprinting. Keep sprinting, keep sprinting. Do not stop. Do not stop sprinting. Go, 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 go. We've got them. We got the buggers. Right, you hit them. You hit them. You hit them. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You've made it through as well. There's some cavalry for you. Get on above from that. You go for that, Cav. Ballister Crew. Ballister Crew. Do I not have another one? No. No, they're turning their attention. You've got to stop them. Shut them down now. Right, you hit that one. You come around the back. Hit that one. Let's go. No, 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 no. Oh, how did that many just miss? That was so many misses. Hit the treb, come on. Territorial Guardsmen, can you finish them off for me, please? Right, he's caught 2 in 1. That's nice. That Treb and that catapult are all that are really left fighting. Can you squeeze some through? Did the Treb kill something? Oh, it did. It did. Oh, square in the face. Right, but he's managed to shut down 2. That Treb's now the only siege left going, and it's going. No! Cease and desist. Ballister crews. No, we got them free. Don't worry. Just turn and face. Just do what I initially told you to do. Oh, he missed again. Come on. How are the trebuchet crews? There's a wonder they're so inaccurate. But how are they firing so easily? And how are you guys not cutting through?
Dead.
Oh, Citadel Guard. Citadel Guard are spearmen. You're Ar-Adûnâim armsmen. You're the best that we've got. Oh, the Trebs really are inaccurate. But we've got them. We got them. They're pinned in place. 2% place, 12%. Gimel card, get involved. That means we're never going to be able to actually go down there, and we need to move our army forward. And sharpish. And here I am planning this great defense, and then I'm completely forgetting that Gimel card's here. Gimel Zor is here, sorry, and he's going to get involved. Right, if they're properly routing, don't worry about them. Pull back. Go and just finish them off. You're going to hit them. No, you're not. Yeah, because you're going to hit the catapult, so you're going to hit them. Which means you 3 sprint down here. I don't know how much use other forces are going to... I don't think the siege is going to actually do very much, to be honest. Our siege, I mean. Good little charge into the Gondor cav there, well done. Got pikes coming in, albeit very slowly. Gimel Cad's charging in. I'm surprised the Territorial Guardsmen haven't routed. Oh, there we go. That's got them to all break. All as one. Gondor Cavalry Militia aren't really a threat. They're not a charge-heavy unit. Gondor Cavalry is broken and fighting to the death. Oh, and look at that. They've all come back. Oh, no, that's the backup fellow, isn't it? But these ones did come back. Don't let them come back. Alright, the rest of you take out that Gondor Cavalry Militia and archers. Let's just sprint you over here. Let's just go and get involved. Remember, that army also has siege. The couple of units that are going to stay back here and defeat these ones. Once you're done, I want you to turn on that fellow over there. But just send this lot packing for good.
The enemy army flees the field. Pursue and run them down.
Alright, there we go. That's that army going. So you come out of that group. The rest of you come with the pikes. Let's move up. Let's sprint if we can. So pikes, come out of this because it's just slowing you down. Sprint up. Archers are moving up. They're sprinting, and our siege can go up onto the hill there. You can fire at will once you're there. Archers, you can then fire at will. We've lost 7%. The enemy has lost 40. But their siege is hitting us. But our army over here can now move over. They're going to go and shut down that siege. And their enemy general doesn't really seem to know what he wants to do with himself. So we haven't got to worry about him. Apologies that we're not zoomed in a lot, but this is one of those much larger, bigger picture style battles. I suppose I'm probably worrying over nothing really, aren't I? Because whilst there are a few good Gondorian forces in there, let's not forget that these are 2 fully elite late game Ar-Adûnâim armies against a Gondor army that has been hastily put together and is predominantly made up of chaff. Right, let's sprint through and stop their siege, please. Because I just noticed they're now shooting our archers with their siege. You 2 can deal with him. The rest of you, let's go, go, go. Sprint into positions.
The enemy general abandons his men.
What are you? Right, you
Only
guys.
half the enemy force remains.
Can we get into here? You're killing off those. Thorongil, the actual general, will then be dealt with by those two. Oh, they've got so much siege. Right, run down the hill. Hit the ballista crew. You've been chosen next. Just run straight into that ballista crew. You, if you would, hit that catapult crew. You, if you would go forward and hit the ballista crew. Not really the ideal job for the someone into the rear of that Gondor infantry. You guys straight into those territorial guardsmen. You haven't been given a role. Territorial guardsmen. You guys, let's get down here. There's a blob of them over there we need to deal with as well. We can probably speed this up now. Catapults have been shut down.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Ballista crews have been shut down. You guys don't fire at will, even once you're in position. Mass routing in the centre. It's over. 10%. Holy hellfire. This has been a terrible Gondor army. And I think, to be honest, our plan worked a charm. Rushing out the siege army and just completely nullifying that benefit. Because just think how much damage that could have done if we were bogged down on that primary army. I dread to think of the amount of dead Ar-Adûnâim that would be on this field under the crushing weight of trebuchet shot. Our Pharazon's faithful just prodding at these fellas. Look at them with their little axes. Look what they're facing. I mean, I'd just drop my axe and lie down. I just don't think I'd try and fight that. He's gone in a bit tasty though, hasn't he? Pikes are starting to curl around the edge now. This is very much over now, so we can just zoom in. Oh, it actually is over. I think the ballista crew might be the last things. No, Thorongil's the last thing, isn't he?
The enemy army flees the field.
Where are you, Thorongil?
Pursue and run them down.
There he is. He's got Nardu Tarek cracking him on the back of the head with their heavy maces. The best type of mace. The heavy mace. Aimed at an enemy's head will bring your enemy to their knees swiftly and with little bloodshed. A swift crack on the noggin and all fall down. Cool helmet you've got there, though. I like the double-layered wings. I think one of our guys might take that from you. Someone knock him out. Come on.
The enemy general lies
There he
dead.
goes.
That'll teach him
Named
to
after
ride to
Aragorn,
war
interestingly.
on a
Well, not
pony.
named after, but of course when Aragorn did his raiding in the south, shortly before the events of The Lord of the Rings, when he sacked Umbar with a small fleet, a la Francis Drake style, he took the name Thorongil.
This is a
Oh
clear
wow, we
victory.
really lost barely anything. We are going to blitz Gondor. Absolutely ruin their day. Golden Sword, 186. Am I seeing that there? For Ar-Adûnâim Nardu Tarek in Gimel Khad's army. Gimel Zor's army. I always get their names the wrong way around. In fact, all of the top three, 186, 169, 141, were all in Gimel Zor's army. And Gimel Zor coming second himself. Excellent work. Excellent work. That song is called Fear No Darkness by Adrian von Ziegler, and it is the song I like the most from his catalogue of works, and I think it is fantastic, hence why it's always the victory song. 4,448 if we ransom them. Oh, Gondor doesn't have the money. Gondor's rather up against it, it would seem.
Your order. Yes, my lord.
But alas, we cannot
Your
attack
orders,
two
my
for
lord.
one.
Yes,
I wanted to
my
get
lord.
Gimel Zor over there as quickly as possible, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that.
Approaching quiet, my lord.
My lord.
Approaching
There's Kalembel,
quietly.
where we find Captain General Angbor the Fearless. Angbor the Fearless is the faction heir. Well, at least he's a named character still, and it's not just some backwater no-namer. I wonder, though, if the attack, our sudden and strong attack, has allowed Isengard an opportunity to squeeze in. But let's end this episode with an assault of Hên Annûn, where we shall kill Hurin the Fearless. Hurin and his beleaguered army have been sitting here forever. Oh dear, since we brokered a peace with Gondor, which is now 10, 20 years ago, Hurin has lived in Hên Annûn all this time. With a small little scouting force, keeping an eye on the Ar-Adûnâim, but all the while not realizing that we, the famed Ar-Adûnâim, as we should call ourselves, knew of Hên Annûn's existence and were just waiting. Hên Annûn, it would seem, has undergone a little change in the makeup. There used to be a small gate there that's since obviously been taken away, which means the enemy can never sally out of Hên Annûn. Or maybe they do. Maybe there's some sort of way. There's also no longer a fake cave. You now fight in the entrance to the cave rather than in the cave, which I think is a good addition, because it always looked a bit weird when it tried to have a roof that wasn't really there. Okay, so we don't actually need any siege. We outnumber our enemy, and this shouldn't be too much of a challenge. So halberdiers, if you would. We also do not care for our troops' lives in this one, so we can throw our troops at the enemy with gay abandon, worrying little or nothing indeed for their life. The purpose of our army here is to kill this army, and then once that is achieved, they are going to go and stand next to our Pharazôn's camp in case Dol Amroth get any ideas. This is just going to be a slog. There isn't really any rhyme or reason or tactical anything to this battle. But this is Hên Annûn. This fog-addled hellscape is Hên Annûn. It's not really a hellscape, is it? There's no fires or anything. Oh, hello. Hello. Gondor gets an Amrothian general.
Our soldiers have proved their worth today. The
I didn't know that.
Belong to us now.
I mean, I probably did, but I'd forgotten long ago. And we're killing him now as we speak. Dol Amroth do have a presence in the fight. The glory of the Swan Knights. The Swan Knight visuals were changed, though. I liked it when they shared the same look as the Knights of the Silver Swan. But I can understand why... well, these are Royal Swan Guards, sorry. But I can understand why you'd want different visual sets. Let's just use a simple word. Between units. It's never good, really, to have an elite...
Our army is tiring.
Unit just be a clone of... To have one of your best units just be a clone of one of your other best units. Because I've
the battle is very much in
up
our
the hill.
favor. Victory will be
That's
ours.
right, I'm using the past participle of sprint. We are knackered. Also, I can't help but notice I just told you to attack that archer militia, and you've decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to attack the Royal Swan Guard. But the halberdiers have got the Royal Swan Guard, so come up here and do what I told you to do. It's interesting that they moved out on us, isn't it? Our Marines assisting in the defeat, but it's the halberdiers. Oh, and there he goes. The Amrothian one's gone. Yorthon. Ah, now that I've seen his name, that does ring a bell, actually. Ranged units, you can fire at the things at the back. Shoot at anything you like, really. Oh, 30% of the enemy has already died. Marines, let's get you to go and do something sneaky. Oh, they really don't like you going around the back, do they? Oh,
the enemy are badly bloodied.
Solid javelin throw. Give them another one. Lovely. Down they go. Down they go. Oh, you're killing so many. That's absolutely excellent work. And then just go and get involved. All right, that's it. They really did have a pathetic army here. We probably could have won it with 2 halberdiers.
Our men are in command of the fort.
Of the fort? Oh, of course, it's a fort now, isn't it? Not a city. I didn't know they had different voice lines for fort.
The battle is very much in our enemy. General lies dead.
The banner of Dol Amroth, the last thing to die on the field. Victory. How fitting. The strength and honour in Gondor now lies at the feet of the swan and not... Well, Gondor doesn't really have an animal. Not the white tree, I suppose. Yeah, that's their spiritual thing, isn't it? That's what they identify with. Dol Amroth has its ships and its swans, and Gondor has its white tree. Well, Gondor doesn't actually have a white tree anymore, does it? Because Minas Tirith has long been in the hands of the Ar-Adûnâim. So the white tree is currently blossoming under the rightful rule of the new king of these lands. And the fort of Hên Annûn is ours.
We have conquered, my lord.
Well done, chaps. Right, as
My lord.
planned. Now, if you could all go and sit in that fort instead, and then just watch over Ar-Pharazôn's camp.
Go no further today.
All right, I'm going to end it there rather than end turn, because I'm not sure what Dol Amroth's plan is, and I would like to be fully ready to react to anything that they have in store for us. So I'm going to end that there. Yeah, so Imrahil is in Ostithil, and Adrian is in Dol Amroth. We won't be able to kill them off by regicide. We're way too late into the game. They've probably got, I think, every single general in Dol Amroth's army is likely to be a member of their family tree. But Harad is holding them here at the Hên Annûn, so everything south of the Hên Annûn. This is not correct map information. Harad have taken that back, but this is correct because that's latest information. And of course, this is no longer held by Khand; it is held by Harad as well. Khand, I think, do still exist if memory serves. Yes, they do, but they don't have any allies, and everyone around them is enemies with them, so they are not long for this world. You will note that Rune holds all of that eastern side. Allying with Rune was a fantastic idea.
This tower will keep
because
vigil
I'm
over the
not
lands.
interested in fighting Rune, personally.
This tower will keep vigil over the lands.
Your orders, my lord.
We've got these guys
Yes,
still
my
just
lord.
building us towers. That's good. We've got a little bit up here that juts in, right there. We don't need to worry about that. There's only a little
Your
valley.
orders, my lord.
So Ar-Bazan, if you go back to Saragost and start ruling,
Yes,
and
my
Ar-Nazir the same in Mordor's
We
End,
can
if you
go
would.
no further, my lord.
With the other generals, bodyguard units. Get the words out eventually. Okay, I probably shouldn't have that many things queued up, really, but I'm not overly fussed.
At your service.
Right, we're going off to the
Journeying
Shire
onward.
if we can get there.
I shall continue tomorrow, my liege.
I
Tomorrow's
shall
journey
continue
awaits,
tomorrow,
sire.
my liege.
Your
Gimmelzor
orders,
is going to
my
go and block up Ethring, where we find Aragost, who we shall kill, and Tarnost now has the remains of that, which we will
Yes,
probably
your
siege for a
orders,
while.
my
I don't fancy taking on all that siege in a city battle, no spank you. You there, though. He's gone to Kalembel,
My lord.
where he will sit. Can you get a sort of halfway where you can see Kalembel and a lot of this land as well?
Quietly. Approaching
Yeah, there you go.
quietly.
Right, so Indrazor, if you plough deeper on still,
Approaching quietly.
and go and find out
I
what's
shall
happening in those
continue
ones.
tomorrow.
Gondor does own Belorn last time we did a check, but Isengard might have taken that now then. But once Gondor dies, I don't really know. Our victory conditions are 45 regions. We only currently have 18. If Dol Amroth attacks us, we will wipe them out. And then that will be our victory condition, I think. Gondor, Dol Amroth, and Mordor dead. That's an Ar-Adûnâim victory wrapped up in the bag. If Dol Amroth do not attack us, then I don't really know. I'd probably open it up maybe then to a vote and say, do we just call an end to it? Gondor are dead, Mordor are dead, we sit on the throne. Anything further is just for the fun of it. Like we've won, but do we push for the 45 regions or do we not? But that will come later. We need to defeat Gondor first, and they're not dead yet. And I really do expect Dol Amroth will attack us, so stay tuned for that, which will be live streamed this Saturday morning, 11 o'clock British summer time. Come and have a watch if you would like to. I'm going to try and use NVIDIA again. So you get to come and test if my voice crackles, and then you can let me down gently when inevitably it will. But otherwise, until then, Navair Naden Perimad Melonin, and farewell.